Over the past years, I've studied hundreds of established business owners and consulted over 100 business owners. Several of them run seven-figure operations, and I noticed a clear pattern. Most business owners believe in order for them to scale their business and to achieve freedom, they'll need to hire a massive team and run this very complex operation. However, there's a completely new way in order to get work off your plate. Instead of hiring someone else, we could create an asset or a form of code or media they'll be able to take over that task and do that for you. And especially now, since there's been significant developments in AI, a lot of the tasks in your business can be replaced by AI, either halfway or completely. Now, this is going to revolutionize many of business owners' workflows because instead of requiring, let's say, 3 people to run your operations, you could bring that down to 1 person. And what happens then, you can reduce your operational costs and increase your profit margins. And if you were to have more people in your team, you could empower them with AI workflows, and now you can handle more clients and scale even further. And this is what most business owners are currently doing right now to shift their business from having high operational costs to a more simpler business that is easier to run and has higher profit margins. And in this video, I'm going to show you the 4 types of digital assets, or the type of assets that you could implement into your business that will allow your business to run with less of your time and not require you to hire more people. But first, let me show you how most business owners have their business structured that forces them to think that they need to hire more team members or work extensive hours and do the work themselves. So first things first is, in order to run a business, there are 4 key systems that you need to have in place. Every business has these 4 things. The first thing is they need a form or a way to generate leads. So this can be known as marketing. And then when you generate these leads, you need a form of way to convert those leads into customers and clients. This is known as sales. Then when you get these clients and customers, you need to actually deliver. So this is where delivery or fulfillment comes in. And then finally, there's operations, which is how you manage your business, the communication, and all the internal processes that you have that allows you to basically operate your business and get things done in a smooth fashion. Now, the thing is, most business owners have all of these systems in their business or processes and activities, all of them rely on them going through them. So what happens is they are the operator in their business. They do most of the things themselves. So let's say for leads, they're posting the content, they're doing the marketing all themselves. Marketing, the sales, they might be doing sales calls. And then for delivery, they might be doing one-on-one client work. And then operations, they're doing it all themselves, they're doing manual work. And then they might not have processes, no automations or processes that will help them get things done faster. So this is like SOPs and all. Now, the problem is when you are in this position, you have all of the weight on you as a business owner. So this becomes very difficult because what's going to happen is you're going to be working extensive hours. You're going to be working 8 to 12 hours. And here's where the hustle mindset comes in, where people think, oh, if I want to scale, I just need to do more. But the problem is you're limited with the amount of hours you can work. So what happens here, if a business owner is in this position, they're the sole operator of their business, they have all this weight. What they start thinking, or what most business owners start thinking, is they start thinking, oh, I need to hire someone, because they don't have the time to build the system. So they start thinking, okay, I need to outsource and delegate this to someone. So instead of marketing, what they'll think is they might get an agency or a content creator, let's put it, content agency. And then for sales, they might think of, oh, I'm going to get a closer. And then for delivery, I might get a coach or a specialist. And then for operations, I might get a CEO or a systems guy to build stuff for them, a fractional CEO. Now, at some times, hiring someone is a justified action. This is key. But for most business owners, what's going to happen is if you hire first, what's going to happen is you are going to increase your operational complexity, your operational costs, which means you're going to have to pay more in salary. It's going to eat your profits. So it's going to eat your profit margin. It's going to increase your communication. You need to communicate with more people. And finally, it is going to increase your complexity. So it's not going to be as simple. Now, this is how most business owners start off with their business. And this is the problem with most business owners. They're stuck being the operator, and then they think they'll need someone else to operate these tasks. So the better way, instead of hiring someone to operate a part of our business, is to instead look at our business as if it's a holistic system of 4 subsystems that I just explained earlier, which is marketing, sales, delivery, and operations. And what our goal here is to look at our business as if we are the architect. And instead, our goal is to focus on building or implementing digital assets. Now, digital assets are basically a form of code, media, like this could be a video, a document, or it could be an AI, a form of AI, or a workflow, like an SOP and so on. So these are the things that we want to implement into our business that will ideally do the heavy lifting for us. So instead of hiring someone, we could implement digital asset, they'll do the work for us. So in most cases, or generally, you might not need to hire someone. But if you need to hire someone, they'll have access to digital assets that will allow them to do the work better. So they'll allow them to get the work done faster, and you won't need to hire as many people. So one person can be equivalent to 3 people if they were to do it manually if they had access to digital assets. So the areas where you need a human touch, you'd only hire for those specific areas, and then areas that could be streamlined with a digital asset, you'd implement a digital asset. Now the goal here as an architect, which is the mindset we're going to adopt here, our goal here is to basically work on our business instead of working in our business. So we want to minimize the amount of times these areas require our input. So instead we want to look for ways that we could build something, or optimize something, or oversee something that will allow us to get the output or the results that we want in our business. So we're going to start looking at our business as if it's a system connected together, instead of us trying to do each operation manually. Again, we're going to look for forms of digital assets that could do the work for us. Now, in terms of digital assets, I'm going to give you a few examples so you can understand what assets you can implement into your business. So like I mentioned earlier, there's going to be 4 different types of assets. There's going to be marketing assets, which is assets that will help you generate leads, nurture leads. There's going to be sales assets, which are assets going to help you convert leads or people that are interested in your offer or working with you to actually customers and clients. Those are sales assets. Then there's delivery assets, which are assets going to help you deliver your service. Then there's operation assets, which allow you to manage your business and keep things running smoothly. Now, a good example here, which I like to go over, is all of these assets that work together in marketing. So if you look at how most people do marketing, generally, they're going to post onto multiple platforms, okay? And in order to post on multiple platforms, if you notice, they're going to have a content team, and they're going to have content editors for each specific platform. So they're going to have editors, they're going to have content directors in their team, and then they're going to have like people that actually schedule the content, create content, and so on. Now, what happens is this is going to require a team. And if you follow a lot of these big gurus, you'll notice that they're spending up to $70,000 a month, a lot of money every single month to try to market their business. This is the traditional way. Now, instead, if we were to take a digital assets approach, what we'd be doing instead is we'd be creating one piece of content, one piece of evergreen content, which could be a YouTube video, ideally, evergreen content, a YouTube video. Let's say it's a YouTube video. And then from this YouTube video, we could use AI to clip that video into multiple pieces of content. Let's say this is multiple pieces of content. So this is a way of looking at your business and figuring out, okay, how do I implement a digital asset? How can I review my workflow? What can I optimize? That way I don't need to hire more people and I could get the same output for less input. Okay, so one Evergreen content YouTube video will continuously get us views, and we could clip that video using AI, and that way we could still get the exposure onto social media and so on. And then from then on, we could have different forms of digital assets in our business. So another one could be like an email list. So I have videos on my channel explaining why email list is important. Positioning assets, you target audience analysis. This could be an asset that you could use in an AI content writer workflow. Brand materials, lead magnets that allow you to generate leads. Content templates that you could reuse over and over again to create content faster. These are forms of digital assets that you could implement into your business that will allow you to get work done faster. They'll do the heavy lifting for you. So instead of, if you are going to hire someone, or if you want to operate your business yourself, you could do it in a much faster and streamlined way if you have assets in place. Okay, so let's go over sales assets. So a good example with sales assets is a lot of people like to do sales calls. Sales calls are great in the start when you're learning the ropes, but later on, I think graduating from sales calls is helpful because after a certain point, you can regain a lot of time back into your calendar and can spend more of that time on higher leverage activities such as implementing other digital assets in your business. So most people do sales calls, which is a one-to-one. You're going to be talking to one person on a call one-to-one. Instead of in digital assets, what would that look like? It would be a high quality VSL that already does most of the heavy lifting for you. So you could replace the sales calls with a high quality VSL, and then you could have a sales process via chat and so on. So like it is trying, most of this process is trying to reconstruct what are you doing right now that is taking majority of your time, and how can I implement a form of code, media, workflow that'll allow me to get the same exact output without requiring me as a business owner to be doing it. So here's where you could implement a high quality VSL, a sales process via chat. There's other assets you can implement. This could be, let's say, a sales framework or a process. Maybe you have you want to sell by chat. You have a specific process. You know how to follow it. You could give that to a VA if you work with a VA. Offer documents that could clearly explain your offer. Presentation decks, same thing, explain your offer. Follow-up sequences. So if you want to have an email sequence, video sales letter, and upsell sequences, let's say this is an email sequence. So having these in place really allows you to get more output out of your business. Again, not requiring as much as your time. Let's go into delivery assets. So delivery assets are really helpful because instead of trying to do all the work for your client, trying to explain things one-on-one on a call, what you could have is you could have a format of videos that will explain the process and how things work, so you don't need to explain it to them all the time. Other forms of digital assets you could have is client portals, SOPs and processes that allow people to set up things themselves, training materials, support systems, self-service resources, workshops, trainings, and success frameworks or roadmaps. These are delivery assets if you run a service-based business. So this is really important because a lot of business owners are doing one-to-one client calls. Those are great, very good value added, but then you also want to make sure that outside of these calls, your clients can also implement stuff on their own, and this makes it easier for them to experience the value faster rather than relying it all on yourself. So this is really important with delivery assets. And then finally, there's operation assets, which are assets that you can implement that will allow you to operate your business quicker. This could be the things that are connecting. So like SOPs, any dashboards and tracking that you want to track, management system, communication systems, workflow automations, if there's a place where you could implement that, analytics, AI workflows, and generally just having solid processes in the back end that allow you to view things. So this is really important. So these are the 4 assets, 4 areas you want to really take a look. What can I implement into my business that will allow it to run without requiring so much of my time? Now, if you want access to more digital assets that you could implement into your business, I created a free cheat sheet where it includes more than 50 different types of digital assets. You can look at the cheat sheet and then figure out, okay, which one can you implement in your business that'll be most relevant to you and serve your business best. If you want that, you can click the link in the description. You can grab that for free. All you have to do is put in your name and email. So the result of this is that you won't have as much operational complexity. So you're going to have less operational complexity. That means you're not going to need to have as much team members, which means the communication required to run your business is going to be less. And things are going to be much more simpler. So simpler and more flexible. All right, so I want to share an example of the 4 types of digital assets in my business: marketing, sales, delivery, and operations. So a really good example of a good digital asset is a YouTube video, because a good YouTube video will continuously get you views over time, over months. It's not like social media where you can post one post and it will only get you views for around 72 hours. A good YouTube video will get you views for months. So that's a good digital asset. And when people watch my YouTube videos, I have links in my description to get a lead magnet. So another asset I'd have would be a lead magnet. So I'd have a landing page where they can grab the lead magnet, and then in the lead magnet, I'd share some insights about myself, my story, my philosophy, like so on. So when people go through the lead magnet, they get exposed to my insights, some stuff that I talk about, how to run a business in less time, how to improve your performance, basically my offer. And then towards the end of the lead magnet, they can buy an offer as well. And in combination with that, because they get the lead magnet, they also join my email list. So I use ConvertKit, where I have welcome sequence, where then I upsell to my community. So to sell my community, I don't necessarily sell using sales calls. I would sell using email. So I'd have email sequences. I send a daily email, and then I'd promote people to join my community. And to sell my community, I would use an offer document that looks like, and I would use this in combination with a video sales letter. So instead of me having all of my time trying to convince someone on a sales call to buy my offer, I like to have assets to sell for me instead of that, and to create marketing assets such as YouTube videos, lead magnets, have an email list, email sequences to then generate leads, convert those leads, and then get them to become a client, close them using like sales assets like an offer document and a high quality video sales letter. And another example I use for operations, I use Notion to track all the things I need to get done in my business, whether I need to record YouTube videos, all my notes, meetings, and ideas that I come across, I have it available on my tab. My warm app or my calendar of things to do, projects, tasks, to-dos is all on here. So for me, in order to get things done in my business, it doesn't require me to work extensive hours because I have these digital assets that do the heavy lifting for me. So when it comes to operations, I use Notion. This is basically the platform that allows me to connect everything together and operate my business. So anything that I need to do in my business, whether I need to send emails, I need to track what I need to get done today, this week, planning my YouTube videos, even tracking my personal performance, I use Notion for that. And this is why I think it's really important to have systems in place, because it allows you to get more done in less time. Instead of needing to do everything manually, you need to continuously work harder. Now, the next thing to note is you do not need to focus on building all of these assets all at once, because if you think about, oh, I need to get all these assets all built in once, you can get really overwhelmed and it's going to be very difficult to actually build and implement these digital assets. So what I like to start with, I like asking this question. What high value activity is taking most of my time right now? Then you could, once you answer that question, once you understand what is an activity that is taking most of your time right now, then you can figure out, okay, what asset can I use to help speed up or streamline this activity, or in some cases, completely replace it? Or maybe if you work with a team member, how can you empower a team member to do that task or activity for you? And if you found this video insightful, then you definitely like this video I recorded showing how YouTube and email is 8 times more effective than social media, and how I use YouTube and email to generate leads and convert them into customers and clients on autopilot. If you'd like that, check the link over here and link in the description. I'll see you there.